Welcome to our new episode of our podcast, The Heart of the Equation. Today, with Sarah, we're going to talk about finding your genius zone. So, maybe I can ask Sarah, what is this genius zone that everyone is talking about?
Thank you, Anisa. And this topic, actually, this is very close to my heart because we were friends for some years ago and I wasn't even a coach then. I had another business and I was so interested in this topic, finding your zone of genius. This was very dear to me because it had helped me change my career, all of that. And you had this Facebook group that my first webinar was in your Facebook group about finding your zone of genius. And a few people joined. And that was those days. I didn't know much about online coaching, all of this stuff. So this topic is something that has been with me for many, many years. And the way I got familiar with it was that I was always looking for something that is unique about us, and each human has something unique about themselves, but I couldn't exactly identify it. It was like it could be talent for someone, it could be a strength for someone, it could be just your energy with someone. There's just so many things, but I couldn't find the right words. And then I read this book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. He's the psychologist who talked a lot about the genius zone. And this is the area or the when we are doing something that we like a lot, we enjoy. So when we are doing it, we're not really keeping track of time. We could just do it and enjoy it, and we are good at it. So when we are working around that topic or doing that type of work, the result is good, it's helpful to others. And naturally, we just do a good job, enjoy it. And because we enjoy it and we get a lot of gratitude and reward from doing a good job, we are also more encouraged to get trained to get even better at it. So it puts us on a path to mastery. So this is something that it takes a lot of self-awareness and work to figure out. But I also noticed that people who are working like this, doing things they really like, they are good at it, they're skilled at it, they become really, really good. Like Picasso, Einstein, all of these people we know, they just like so into their topic. And I was thinking like all of us could be like that. So, but why we do struggle is that most of us don't know about it. So for me, this is like how genius is defined. It's something within each of us, but most of us don't really know it.
I love that definition, Sarah. Many people asked during that webinar, it was 5, 6 years ago, and also now reaching to you, reaching to me and ask, how can I find that zone of genius? What questions shall I ask myself really to find that? Those people can be in corporate, because that can also happen in corporate people to say, okay, I really want to find what I'm good at it, what are my strengths, so I can direct, my career to that direction. Or say, okay, I'm good really at what I'm doing at work, but I need something else that I feel really in flow, that I just am absorbed. I need something else that I do and I enjoy, that energize me. So how can we classify and help those groups really to find their um yeah, let's call it again zone of genius? What
Yeah.
question can they ask themselves?
I think humans are very complex, so it could be different for different people. I also do not think that we necessarily have to make money with something that brings a lot of joy to us. So we could have many joys, we could have many interests, we could have many skills, but it starts with firstly having the question, having that self-awareness, being curious. It starts from there. But then it's continued by getting feedback from others. This is also something a lot of people underestimate, is that we want to do a lot of self-help by sitting down, just meditating, reading something, just being with ourselves, which is very helpful and important. But ultimately all of us have like some kind of purpose in this world, and it's really about creating some form of impact, and it involves others. So this type of things, even business, career, whatever we do that is helping us with that purpose, none of this is happening in isolation. So involving others, getting the constructive feedback, like how did I do? What was helpful when we did that project? And being very specific about it. Slowly developing that knowledge that what others see in us, because it's something we can't. It just starts from there, but it's such a dynamic topic because we have so many dimensions. So we just need to keep searching. We always need to sort of be aware when we are somewhere, what is bringing joy to me, what are the activities that I do that I'm not really checking my time, I'm not waiting for this to be over, and keep asking that question. This will get us closer. And we were never finally there, but it's really like figuring out about our identity. What is so special about me? And really, it's down to one thing. What is my unique style of problem solving that comes to me so naturally that I don't even think about it? This is usually like bringing us closer to the answer.
That is a so important point. So if we just now focus on, let's say, corporate, um, and let's say there's a team leader that needs to contribute, different tasks to different people, understanding and working with each people to understand what is their genius zone can
Yeah.
motivate them highly,
Yeah.
can understand what makes them frustrated or stressed or put them in the just surviving mode, right? And what really energizes them. Maybe there is a person who is a savvy, system savvy, right?
Yeah.
So all the system things can go to that person. And instead of to giving to the person that likes to be with people, organize, lead, if you give that task to that person, is gonna kill the the individual. And instead of motivating that is such a important crucial point to be highlighted, right, when
Yeah.
you're contributing the task, and also bring knowledge to that. Hey, really, what gives you joy while you're doing the task? So it is not that people are lazy at work, it's
Yeah.
like they're not enjoying what they do, and absolutely is understandable. There's some stuff that we don't enjoy and needs to get it done, but at least the amount can be reduced to one individual and give it to others who enjoy that. So the contribution will be really contribute to the successful team, to the successful projects.
Yes, yeah, and this actually has so many dimensions. This what you just talked about, team building wouldn't be perfect if we had teams that everyone was just bringing their strength, and also they were doing something with joy. Then everyone would just be highly performing. We wouldn't need any hacks. We wouldn't need anything. Everyone would just bring their best. And this is, I think, ultimately the workplace is going to that direction. Maybe in 10 years or something, but also, well, one problem in corporate is that most of the time we just inherit a team and there are a lot of established processes. It's very difficult to change that. So it becomes difficult. It's also sometimes people don't feel safe to say what is joyful to them. They just want to make sure that they are perceived as they're doing the good job. So it's really down to the corporate environment. Do they care about this or not? And do you feel safe to show up as your authentic self and say, oh, I actually really enjoy doing this? Because I didn't work in this type of environments back then. I liked my job, but I also knew that the moment you say you enjoy something, you will be given a lot of work in that topic and it would go out of control. And I didn't feel safe also sometimes saying that, because then you would be labeled. And it was like, so I stopped being open about what I really enjoyed. And there was a lot of things I did. So that's one. And it was applying also to a lot of other people. And then there's also something else that Gay Hendricks talks about. It we have a zone of genius, these things that we love, we're so good at them, we do a good job around them, and then we have the zone of excellence and also zone of competence. These are the things. Zone of competence is things that we do just as well as others. So we're not bad at them, but we are not also special. But then we also have something called zone of excellence. Things that are actually we are talented, we do a very good job, we deliver very good quality. It makes sense for us to do them, but we don't enjoy them. I did a lot of those things as well for so long because it made sense. It paid the bills. It was also when you do more of them in corporate, usually you get labeled as the good man, like the manager, or you're good at this. And then you find yourself like 5 years of doing something I don't really like. For me, the point that I became more conscious of this was there was something in sourcing in supply management I was doing. And then there came a point that they wanted to send me to some training. And this training was more intensive. And I was thinking, oh my God, I don't really enjoy this. And now going to a training that is going to take a lot of my time, and then this will be my expertise. It was something actually about audits, and you go to factories and check if they are like compliant, thinking, I do not like audits. I don't enjoy this. I do not want a career in quality management. What am I doing here? But then I noticed that I was doing a lot of things that contributed to a career that I was not really wanting. But the company I was working with, my team leaders, all the people around me, they thought this is for me. So then I ended up in this position that, oh, I don't want this career you're offering me. And for me, this has started the journey to look more for things that actually excited me, because it's hard to do things you don't like for the long term, at least for me.
That is absolutely important example that you brought in. And you start and we start to realize that when we invite that awareness, right? We were
Yeah.
talking previous to this episode that many people that reach sometimes to us and say, how even didn't, it came to your mind, for example, to do an event or to start a podcast or to do this, to do that. We are just so curious, interested to understand how these things came to your mind. So I think that is the space that we have created for ourselves. As an adult, of course, it can be created, that there was a space as a child for children to invite them to explore really what they like, and then they can bring with them, along the life. For me, is painting. I
Yeah.
started when I was 12. I did the school, and then since now I still have it. Or it can be invited as adult. I know many artists that they have started at 40, at 50, right?
Yeah.
They have invited those creativity. They just believe what they hear, their intuition, and they invited that space. They are still working in corporate, right? And
Yeah.
then they have created that activity that make them feel in flow, that
Yes.
gives them joy. Then they have energy to their perform their corporate job, right?
Yes.
So when they ask, hey, how can I understand what is my genius soul? So my question will be really to give that a space to yourself with patience, with no push, because when there is push, there is no creativity. When there is must and should, there is no creativity, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So give that a space to yourself and see what activities really gives you energy and what drains you really, what really comes natural, right? And be patient with yourself. Sometimes you try this, try that, and after years, it just, reveal to yourself.
Yes, exactly. This is not something that, it's not an equation that you solve and like, yeah, I have the answer. I spent a weekend on it. Now I know. No, actually, for me, it's sometimes something you have no idea about. So for me personally, I love coaching since I became a coach, and it's been like some years now. I just felt like, oh, I'm finally doing something that I feel at home. I'm like, when I'm in sessions with clients, even when I have a big personal problem, I just forget about it. I just don't, it's like a trance state for me. The moment I'm with that person, I really enjoy it. And I just, when I'm in a session, I don't think about anything else. I never had that feeling with any other job. And I've done many different things before. But so I got certified in 2022. But in 2015, let's say, you asked me what a coach does, I didn't know. I've had mentors in corporate, and they're like people who had other jobs. I didn't know a single coach. I didn't think it was a serious job. I thought this is, especially, I had very negative association with life coaches that they are just there selling, well, they don't know what they are doing. So for me, my genius was something I didn't even know about. But what happened to me, I was searching for what I enjoy and I'm good at, experimenting. I had that business in fashion for some years. That was my zone of excellence, for example. I thought, okay, these are my skills. This is what I can do. Let's do this business. But then at some point, it became very clear to me that, okay, you're not really enjoying this. And then when I was giving consultancy, like people would come to me and say, how can I create an online business? So I was doing that. First, it was just coffee, having coffee with someone. Then it became so many of those coffee meetings. I had to put a price on it. I had to create a course around it. And then I noticed I really enjoy helping people. So this was like a journey. It happened one after another. And after doing a lot of consulting, I noticed like it's not the strategy that helps people, it's the humans behind the businesses, it's how they think, so I need to learn about coaching. And then I got trained. So if I want to put it together, it was a journey that started, I was still in corporate, like let's say 2010. I even changed jobs in the corporate. I was in at least three different jobs. But it has been like 15 years, let's say, of trying different things and seeing like where I'm better at, and then even with coaching, noticing like this is the style I resonate with, this is how I want to do it. Like early on in my coaching, I like to use a lot of tests and tools, and then I noticed, no, I am an intuitive person, I just like to listen to people. So it takes time, you need to be patient with it, but you also need to stay curious.
That is a very, very good point. Stay curious as well. And as you mentioned, you have been an individual that you have started that inner journey, right? To find out what is good for you, where you are good at. And I think it is something that needs to happen also in corporate. Of course, let's say an aware and conscious team leader, line manager, make it easy. And from the other side, we can also start it. I remember that I enjoy a lot negotiating, completing the task, bring people together, conflict resolution, bring a project forward rather than to stick and keep an Excel file,
Yeah.
right? And I remember that knowing myself what I enjoy, it was a task there, and my manager asked, "Would you like to take that Excel file?" I was like, "No. Is there any other way that I can help to this project but not that Excel file?" He said, "Absolutely." He gave the Excel file to the person who is Excel file savvy, and I had the other part what was negotiating that I enjoy. It might be even harder, or it may even hear, oh my God, no, I don't want to negotiate in a difficult conversation. But for me, just enjoying, that's so nice, energizing me. So once we, I think, understand where we are good at, we can also communicate the things that you mentioned, right? That safety, I had it. I had an amazing line manager. We had a conversation with him in previous episodes, Manish. So I could really communicate and other people to say, okay, it is what I'm good at. That's why we have been an amazing, high performing team, right?
Yeah.
And what something else that I noticed, we can be also in the team that we have. We should not be really the line manager or team leader. It can be our colleagues, and we can see where also they are shining in to say, "Oh my God, you're good at it." So
Yes.
if you see your colleagues that they're good at something, don't be afraid of compliment to say they are good,
Yes.
because that might be something that illumine their mind and then help them to pursue their really how do you say, to get to that zone of genius.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, this topic you talked about, this is like it feels like home to me because not only I experienced it myself, I once had a client. She was actually like a team leader. She had like a small team, like 7, 8 people, and we had this conversation really about like acknowledging each person's strength. And she said something that was very familiar. She said, "If I compliment too much, I'm spoiling them. I feel if I compliment too much, they would not put the effort. And culturally, I think this is the right thing." So we had a conversation around, I think this is a mindset that is quite around. Some people do not feel safe being compassionate. And I learned some very good lessons from some of our guests in the podcast. We had a lot of amazing, conscious, compassionate leaders like Manish and Imbal, and we
Symbol,
had
right?
Yavi, all of them actually. It
Yes.
was so refreshing to me that there are leaders who are actually practicing this safety, compassion, being okay with someone's shining, and do not see like acknowledging that as like, oh, then they will be lazy if I do it. So this is also a topic. And also something else I noticed, I mean, I don't know all the corporations, but at least the industries I have worked with, corporations, HR, they are very much into tests like Clifton Strength or DISC. There is another one, Hogan. All of these tests, I'm not saying they are bad, but they none of these tests go deep in your humanity. So you get an answer, but it's very limited, and then everyone gets labeled by your preferences, by certain answers in the disc. So sometimes that is prioritized too much in the corporate world. And I understand you, if you have 20,000 employees and you want to understand who's what, you need to do these tests to label them a little bit. But it's not enough. And at the end, having a good team, high performing team, is really down to the managers to connect with people on a human level, to really see what everyone is good at, what can everyone bring to the table, and not just in terms of a strength, but also the energy. I think everyone brings like an energy to the team, their behaviors, how they get along with others, or how some people like more space and like just want to be left on their own. That's also okay. And if someone can see all of that as a package together and just like, get the best of everyone, it would be much easier. And a disc test or a Clifton strength test, that's not enough to do that. I personally think. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't like what I say because there are a lot of coaches who work with this, but my experience with all of these tests is that they give like this much information about who you are.
That is what we need actually, and we have talked also about resilience in some of
Yeah.
our previous episodes, and I would like also to introduce here again, if you are eager to find your genius, and go back and watch our episode about resilience, because resilience is connected to our nervous system, and nervous system is the component that regulate our calmness, and that is space. That is space to say, now there is no danger, you're not in fight and flight, no one is running behind you, there is no lion, you should not escape, you can rest. And when we come to that rest point, rest space, we can start to ask ourselves, hey, what makes me happy? What brings me joy? At work or at home,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yes. And also what you said is key, creating safety within us, because sometimes we are not, unfortunately, not we are not always in externally in very safe situations, but learning a skill to create that safety within us is the only way. We cannot be creative if we, I mean, but yes, maybe we can be short term creative to save ourselves when we are under pressures, but true genius is something that we will discover if we feel safe, if we feel okay, if we trust a little bit. And this is something I I also talk about, I actually created a product. It's a very affordable, cheap, everyone can access that. And I talk about this, like genius is not just about asking a question, what am I good at? It has to do with how you manage your energy, how you develop the skills to be more resilient, how your awareness around your strengths and talents, and sometimes what you consider as a weakness could be a strength. Like there is this story I really like about Michael Phelps. He's the champion swimmer of all times. He's the best swimmer ever, I think. And he had ADHD in school, so he was a very bad student. They put him in the swimming pool to swim so he can manage his energy. But his ADHD was his superpower. It made him a good swimmer, basically. So also be very careful with what you label as my weakness. But I talk about it in that masterclass. I will tag it wherever we will put this podcast, that you can kind of get a holistic view of what this thing is about us, that we can find the uniqueness within us. And I call it the growth DNA because it's very much like DNA and genes. We have them inside
Right.
us, but we can only get the quality if we are in the right environment. Or if you have bad genes, but we are in a good environment and we take care of ourselves, the bad genes will not kind of get to do what they want to do. So there is a lot of nurture and little nature. So if you're interested, you can go check that out. But yeah,
That sounds amazing for someone who wants to start, right? Especially if I believe personally in this era, this zone of genius is not a luxury.
yeah,
It's the element that really brings the sustainable performance of the team, incorporate fulfillment, joy, avoiding burnout, increasing creativity, and really bring us energy, right?
yeah, yeah.
We are getting close to the end of this episode. If I just want to ask a question from audience and then let you to close it. So maybe this, when you listen to that this week, just put 5 minutes each day, 5 minutes when you're taking your coffee in the morning, to really think about one activity that lights up your heart, something that makes you feel in flow, and how you can do it more and bring it more into your life.
I love that, Anisa. Yes. What connects you to your life force? That's it. And don't think about money or business or career or anything. What is it for you? Because that is a good signal about your best version, your superpower, and your gift to this world, the impact you can make to this world. So I'm very curious. Please share with us. And thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you, all of you, that you have been with us and listening or watching this episode.
Yes. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Heart of the Equation. If this episode sparked something for you, we'd love to hear about it.
Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us on LinkedIn and Instagram to continue the conversation.
And if you know someone who is navigating their next career step, share this episode with them. It could be exactly what they need.
We see you next time as we explore more about leading with purpose, resilience, and authenticity.
Let's keep growing together.